we come up on D96, this all-yellow 41-foot Apache known as Starchaser. This boat is powered by twin 800 horsepower Ritchie Zool racing inboard motors with Merc Cruiser number 4 drives. This boat is owned and driven by Butch Montevecchi from Staten Island, New York. His navigator is James Montevecchi, and Mike Florio is the throttle man. This crew has been together for several years, and they are stars. And the Starchaser race team are true champions, and they're presently running in first place. They've had some excellent wins from 1987 as well as into 88, and today's race is no exception. They're tearing up the course. Presently, they're running in first place in class, and no one is going to be able to catch this Starchaser boat if they maintain a performance as they have right now. Besides the Montevecchis and Florio, there are so many people who help out the Starchaser race team. Their big and heavy sponsors are Profiles Perfect USA Limited, Ruggerio's Restaurant, Cookie Store, Page Dodge, Mopar Performance, the Palm Shores Club Caterers, Dom's Market, Ronnie and Mike from Chef Romeo's, the Lonnie Guy Hotel. Avincimento is on the pier. Some other sponsors include Venice Marine, Paradise Restaurant, the Corvette Shop, All City Glass, All Electric Construction, Mike's Back Room, Fox Glass, Avis Conti & Sons, Jody's Car Service, Blaze Right, and of course, who could forget Rock Love, Cappuccino on the Bay, JoJo's Auto Rental, Hazard Collision, Marie's Italian Cuisine. All of these people help feed the Montevecchis and Florio. And of course, they get around from the East All Tire Company. You've got Palco Electric, Rishon Auto Repair, What's Your Pleasure Limousine that drives them around, Diane's Enterprise, Fast Auto News Service, and L&P Ironworks. Just some of the many sponsors who help the Starchaser race team. And of course, who could forget Ritchie Zool, who does the race motors for them, and Joe and Jeff Russo, who help out on the Starchaser race team. So there you have it, the cast of sponsors and the crew that help make D96, the Montevecchios and the Florios, Starchaser race team, the true champs that they are. From Atlantic City, D96, Starchaser race team. From Starchaser, we come up on S5, the long shot race team. This all-red 24-foot Douglas skater is powered by two Mercury outboard motors with 400 horsepower. This boat is owned by Douglas Skater out of Douglas, Michigan. Your driver for today's race is Larry Van Amexdy from Lake St. Clair, Michigan, and Randy Schism from St. Louis, Missouri is on throttles. So Van Amexdy and Schism is doing a fine job in the long shot race team. They've not had the best campaign for 1988, however, they're presently running in first place, holding off Dick O'Day Racing and the high-risk race team who we've seen in some of our earlier telecasts. But right here, Long Shot is looking very strong. It's the boat's fourth year in racing and has held up incredibly to the rough seas, considering this boat has been out here for 4 consecutive years running right now. The Long Shot race team, and there's certainly no long shot for today, being that they're unofficially running in first place in the stock class right now. The boat known as Long Shot Race Team, S5, having a very good run right here. C41. This is the 30-foot Shadow Cat known as Pipeline Express. This boat is powered by 2 Chevrolet inboard motors with Mercruiser outdrives. This boat is sponsored by Robert E. Shug. This boat is the former national APBA and former NPBA champion. The former Town and Country boat is now renamed as the Pipeline Express. They took a first place in Greenwich at the Showboat Classic and a first place in Point Pleasant this year on the national circuit. This boat is owned and driven by Robert E. Shug from New Jersey. On throttles, he's got Richard Dan Cision from Toms River, New Jersey, and Ed Allen is his navigator. Pipeline Express, there's quite a good story that goes behind this race team. After 24 years of hard work by Ed Allen, who rigged the boat and the engines, they're built by Airspeed Engineering, who did a superb job out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Our first race seemed to go very well, and after that, it's just been a product of excellent people who surround our boat. They hope to keep this team in the future and continue to do well. Robert Shug would like to thank those dedicated, giving individuals, Ed Allen, who is the boat rigger, and Dave Jarvis, who is the boat engine builder on the East Coast. And that's long shot on the outside. You really get an idea of just how rough this outward leg is on the ocean racing course right here. They're experiencing high seas, thus slowing down the speeds. But back to the crew. The boats are built on Ed Allen's a boat rigger, and Dave Jarvis is the best engine builder on the East Coast. Rich Dan Cision, your APBA Throttle Man of the Year in 1985. Larry Wurtzberger, the man responsible for doing some of the best fiberglass work known to this race team. And last, and not least, is someone who's been a real great help and inspiration to Robert Shug. It's his wife, who knows how much he loves the sport and is petrified through the entire race, but nonetheless, she supports him as well as the entire Pipeline Express race team every time they go out. And today is no exception because they're having a fine run in Atlantic City. C41, the Pipeline Express, headed up by Robert E. Shug. Cision is doing a fine job of throttling on this Pipeline race team right now. And now we come up on D55, Island Runner. And slightly ahead of him, it's S941, the Dick O'Day Racing Team. But we're going to stay with Island Runner right here. This 41-foot all-white Apache is powered by twin Stadler high-performance engines with 725 horsepower each. This boat is owned and throttled by Frank Herbeck from right here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Driving is George Herbeck, and your navigator is Al Chapchian. Your chief crew member is Mike Roscoe, all hailing from Atlantic City, New Jersey. Hometown favorites here, the Herbecks in the Island Runner race boat. You see them going by Dick O'Day Racing. 2 totally different class of boats, so it's certainly not a problem. But in this rough leg, this 41-foot Apache can certainly make some good headway, as you can see right here. This boat is sponsored by Herbeck, Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce, and automotive dealerships. They sell right here out of Atlantic City. They also handle Bentleys, Cadillacs, Pontiacs, Chevrolets, Mitsubishis, and Saabs. So obviously, if you're in Atlantic City and it seems you need a car to get around, you should definitely go see Frank Herbeck from your Herbeck dealerships in Atlantic City, New Jersey. But he's come from the road out to the open seas in Island Runner, and he certainly has this 41-foot Apache having a fine run. D-Class is very tight, and they're definitely in the hunt for things right now. They're looking very competitive right here. They'll be chasing Starchaser, BAM, Hot, amongst others in that class. Island Runner, the boat headed up by Frank Herbeck from Atlantic City, having a good run in Atlantic City. Just listen to Frank work those throttles. The Island Runner race team. That's American Express right there in your picture. Really having a rough ride out here in this open ocean racing. And right now we come up on a strong competitor, S941, Dick O'Day Racing. This black with red and yellow trim 24-foot skater is powered by twin 200 horsepower Mercury outboard motors. This boat is owned by Derek Simons, who also does your navigating and throttling. And he's got Kenneth Welch as his driver. Dick O'Day Racing having a very fine run today. They're chasing down Longshot, who's presently in first place and holding off the challenge of High Risk. With a good run here today, he will become your national champion. So there's a lot at stake here for the Dick O'Day race team. Buster has had a good run. Dick O'Day is in second place, and he's holding off High Risk, who is presently in third place in point standings. So O'Day knows what he must do today here in the S class, and he will certainly rise to the challenge. He always has, and today he said he's going to let it all hang out, being that it is the final race of the season. So we're watching a champion letting it all go right now. There is no tomorrow for Dick O'Day Racing. That's S941, the Dick O'Day Racing team, having a fine run in Atlantic City. If they can hold on right here, this certainly would be a national champion and lend an international flair to it, in that this race team hails from Bermuda. Derek comes up from Bermuda to race out here, and he's done an excellent job here in the States on the campaign. The Dick O'Day race team enjoying a very fine day of racing. As we leave Dick O'Day Racing, we're coming up on D18, the boat known as Hot. This is a 32-foot all-white skater powered by twin Johnson outboard motors. This boat is owned and throttled by Roy W. Howman from Chicago, Illinois, and is being driven today by Robert Reynolds, also from Chicago, and its head crew member is Jeannie Harmon, also hailing from Chicago. Hot is looking very good right now in class. They're in a strong chase with Starchaser and BAM. However, Starchaser, you saw earlier on, has a very good lead, but it's too close to call right now between BAM and Hot in the D-Class competition. They've had some good running. On the outside, that's Al Copeland's Popeye's Diet Coke. That is certainly a space-age looking race boat right there, and he's done everything that can be done in this field of offshore powerboat racing. Copeland is a living legend right now in the sport, but the story right now is Hot. He's done very well. This boat is sponsored by Kilroy's Bar Restaurant and Triplex Marine, as well as Midwest Performance Boats. They've had 4 races on the national circuit. They took a 3rd at Bay City, a 1st at Grand Haven, and a 1st at the Traverse City. They've done very well throughout this campaign. They'd like to extend a special thanks to Larry Travis of Triplex Marine for all his help. Also, a special thanks goes to his wife, Jeannie Hellman, for driving the boat to a 1st place win in Grand Haven, Michigan. Special thanks to Robert Reynolds of Kilroy's Bar and Restaurant for all their support, and he's looking forward to more support from Michigan Air Gas, U.S. Air Gas. This boat is also the only boat in Sportsman D class with stock 600 horsepower. And right here you get a good idea of what the hot race team is all about. Just listen to those 600 horsepower Johnsons do their thing right now. And Roy Hellman, along with Robert Reynolds, really has the hot race team dialed in, doing a great job on the throttling right here. The driving is superb, and hot is really hot right now as it's firing around the race course. The hot race team having a fine day here at Atlantic City. Now we're coming up on a brand new boat, number 60, Eric's Reality. This boat is a brand new 48-foot all-white Cougar powered by 4 850 Gentry inboard motors with K5 Keycafer outdrives. This boat is owned and driven by Charles E. Marks from Potomac, Maryland, and your navigator and throttle man is Bobby Moore. This boat is really special. This is a brand new superboat known as Eric's Reality, and today it's his debut race. Charles E. Marks is chairman of Systems Products Incorporated of Washington, D.C., and president of Automated Datatron Incorporated of Hyattsville, Maryland. He'll bring this brand new superboat to the Offshore Powerboat racing circuit today in Atlantic City with its maiden voyage. This 48-foot custom-designed Cougar built in England has never been raced before. The boat is named Eric's Reality in honor of Mark's 26-year-old son. It is his habit to name his boats after his children. Mark says the boat is designed to be a rough water catamaran with a racing attitude of a deep V hull. Right there with Atlantic City in the background, you see Eric's Reality really having a strong run. If this is the case, Eric's Reality may indeed be tested at Atlantic City, because the last 4 national circuit races held off the Jersey coast have proven to be cat breakers. In one race, who could forget Al Copeland's superboat, Popeye's Diet Coke, sprung over 1,000 rivets and was well on the way to sinking as it limped back to shore. Eric's Reality is the latest edition of the world champion Cougar boats. It boasts extraordinary power plants, 4 Gentry American Eagle turbocharged 850 horsepower mills, the same engines that drove Tom Gentry to the 1987 Superboat World Championship in Key West last November. If the waters really turns rough, Mark will probably find his toughest competition from the Deep V Gentry Johnson Scarab, driven by actor Don Johnson of Miami Vice fame. Gentry engines are also in Don Johnson's Scarab. Bobby Moore, throttleman and crew chief for Marks, says the new aluminum Cougar utilizes compression pole flexible framing. The skin strength is double that of all existing aluminum boats previously constructed. The double strength is achieved through the use of 9,000 rivets made of space-age lithium metal and employing a cherry lock design built to Federal Aviation Administration standards. The 13-foot beam has the widest tunnel in superboats, offering remarkable stability and excellent recovery at the intended speeds of over 120 miles per hour. Moore, one of the most experienced throttlemen in offshore, says the boat will easily accommodate the 6 to 8 foot seas expected off the New Jersey coast. Mark says he has 2 prospective sponsors in the wings who will be in Atlantic City for the race. He plans to have the boat campaigned in the World Cup in Key West on November 8th, 10th, and 12th, although he himself cannot compete because his late start this year precluded participating in the 3 races required to qualify. Mark will, however, be the driver of record for Atlantic City. Eric's Reality is having a fine run, as you can see. And Charles Marks has also put a lot of time into the secret safety pods that they've built into this boat. It's got windshields from Harrier jets, and they've put a lot of technology into the safety capsule right there. They're having a fine run. They're holding off Popeye's Diet Coke in second and Gentry Eagle in third place. So Charles Marks is really having a good impression in Eric's Reality. Now we come up on another racing boat right here. This boat is A71, the Lucky Strike race team. This is a 30-foot red and white Sonic powered by twin 300 Chevrolet inboard motors with Mercruiser outdrives. This boat is owned and throttled by Lloyd Gutenberg from Ship Bottom, New Jersey, and he's got Bud Millinghausen as his driver today. The Lucky Strike race team. They're presently in first place, holding off Johnny Red and Snakebite. Lucky Strike race team having a very good run at Atlantic City right now, headed up by Gutenberg and Millinghausen. Right here you've got C-37, Endangered Species on the inside, and Delia's Special Edition on the outside. C-37, this is a 34-foot all-white Sudfin powered by twin Innovation race motors with 550 horsepower Peets with Arneson outdrives. The owner of this boat is Fast 34 Incorporated. Your driver today is Clayton Wilson. On throttles you've got Rick Lamore, and Tim Notto is your navigator. You see Delia taking a slight lead right here. Special Edition having a good run in class. He's presently in first place, holding off Coors Silverlight Bullet and Chevrolet Power. But right now, the story is Endangered Species. He's presently running in second class, chasing Kurt Berger, Smokey and the Bandit, but holding off the challenge being made by Insanity. He's presently in third place in class. C-37, the 34-foot Sutphin known as Endangered Species. There you see the Montevecchi's D96 Starchaser with a checkered flag. They're already finished with the boat race, and most likely they're already headed to one of those many restaurants that they frequent who do help them out. You heard the names before, and they're probably headed out there in the rented limousine that they use, or else out to one of the restaurants that they love to frequent over on Staten Island. What can you say? The Montevecchios and Mike Florio, who had a phenomenal run in Starchaser. Right now we're coming up on D71, the 27-foot Cougar known as Air Ride. This boat is powered by twin 300 Johnson outboard motors. This boat is owned and driven by Greg Sandinato from Hull, Massachusetts, and on throttles today he's got Alan Swyman, the Air Ride race team. They've had a very good campaign throughout the year. On the divisional level, Air Ride race team has had a very good campaign this year, and we certainly expect to see big things out of them in Key West in the World Championships. That's Craig Sandinato and Alan Swyman from Hull, Massachusetts in the Air Ride race team. These 300 horsepower Johnsons are holding up quite well in today's race. It's propelling Air Ride to a very strong run here today in Atlantic City. Eric's Reality is having a good run in Superboat. Special Edition in the open class is looking good. Miss Don Q in production holding off High Roller. Cat is looking real good right there in modified. Long Shot and Dick O'Day racing neck and neck. Lucky Strike holding off Johnny Red and Snakebite. Shockwave looking good. Smokey and the Bandit is holding off Endangered Species. And of course you saw Starchaser and D-Class, your winner, already there. But Bam and Hot still out on the race course. Here we're coming up on S99, in the boat known as Skater Express. This 24-foot red, white, and blue skater is powered by 2 Mercury outboard motors with 200 horsepower apiece. This boat is sponsored by Glazer Marine, Impressionist Printing Center, and they're doing very well. This is their first national race. The second was the Miss River Challenge. They set the record from Memphis to St. Louis, so there is some experience right here. This boat is owned by Glazer Marine out of St. Louis. This boat is driven by Joe Jacobson. On throttles, you've got Chip Hackman, and Joe Jacobson is also your navigator with Jim Jacobson and Joe Bagwell as the crew members. That's Johnny Red on the inside. You've got Skater Express going by, Johnny Red on the outside. I'd like to extend a special thanks to Glazer Marine from St. Louis, Missouri, who is the exclusive skater dealer where Skater Express is maintained along with the engines. So that's Joe Jacobson, Chick Packman, who make up the Skater Express race team, and the sponsorship and generosity provided by Glazer Marine, all coming from St. Louis, Missouri. They've had a good run at the Miss River Challenge out in St. Louis, and right here, this is a big national race for them, and certainly a big test for the Skater Express race team in Atlantic City. A1, the Johnny Red race team. This all-red 26-foot Corsa is powered by a single Pro Marine 550 horsepower race motor. This boat is owned by John LaForte. John LaForte Sr. does the driving, John LaForte Jr. is on the throttles, and Ralph Papke is the head crew member. For the 1987 World Championship, they took a third at Barnegat this year, and sponsorship is provided by LaForte Air Freight Trucking out of Valley Stream. The LaFortes would like to extend a special thanks to Ralph and Pro Marine for all the fine work they've done in re-rigging this boat for the 1988 campaign. Ralph not only maintains the boat, but he does the motors as well. So, the combination of Ralph Papke, John LaForte Sr., and John LaForte Jr. helped make Johnny Red the consistent competitor that they've been for the last several years on the offshore campaign. They're presently running in second place in A-Class behind Lucky Strike and holding off Snakebite, who is in third place right now in A-Class. The Johnny Red race team. That's Coors Light Silver Bullet going by on the outside. We're still running very strong. Coors is in second place in the open class, chasing down Dalia in Special Edition. But we're staying with the LaFortes. A1, Johnny Red, having a good run here at Atlantic City. The Johnny Red race team. boats looking very good in Johnny Red. As they go under our race helicopter right here, we certainly hope to see them in the finish. If they can catch Lucky Strike, that'd be great. There's Boat Chopper race team right there. First time we've called his name all day. But right now we're coming up on A82, the Snakebite race team. This 28-foot sleek craft is powered by a single 365 horsepower Merc Cruiser inboard with a Merc Cruiser outdrive. This boat is owned and driven by Richard Massetti from Lake Ronkonkoma, New York, and his navigator today is John Denon. Rich also does the throttling, so it's a two-man crew, the Snakebite race crew. Snakebite has had a very good campaign. In the divisional races, they've taken a first in Greenwich, a first in Stamford, a first at Barnegat Bay, and many more. They've had some great racing. This 28-foot sleek craft Enforcer is running out of Mr. Ted's Muscle Boats Marina in Copeg, New York. This represents the combined efforts of many people. Bruce Nightshore, who's the owner and designer of Sleek Craft Lines, hand-laid and delivered this boat from Santa Fe Springs, California to Mr. Ted's to basically clean up in the A-Class. And basically, Snakebite has been cleaning up in A-Class. With a good finish here today, they could become your national champion in A-Class. Rich is a veteran driver and throttle man, and his navigator, usually Carol Wallish, will be putting the boat through its paces. However, today, your navigator is John Denon for today's race. And with Richie Zool with his 500-plus horsepower power plant, this boat will really do well. At this time, Rich would like to acknowledge the additional sponsors who have made it all come together for this race team. They include East Coast Marine, Tomahawk Interiors, Cross Bay Marine, Panorama Signs, Culinary Corners Catering, and Varney Sunglasses. They are very optimistic and confident that their new boat is a definite winner and a force to be reckoned with among the other competitors in A-Class. So Snakebite is having a phenomenal 88 campaign, and you can bet on looking for big things from them in the World Championships in Key West, Florida later on in November. From Atlantic City, the Snakebite race team. As Snakebite heads off in the distance, we come up on Lady L race team. B22, this 28-foot signature is powered by twin 400 Chevrolet inboard motors with Merc Cruiser drives. This boat is owned and throttled by Peter Meyer from Port Washington, New York. His driver today is Anthony Lecaro, and Joseph Bonifazio is the navigator. The Lady L race team. They've had their ups and downs this year on the campaign, but they've been around for many, many years out here on the circuit. They've been a great competitor. Peter Meyer and Tony Lecaro have been racing for so many years that they're just true seasoned veterans. And one year they expect that their boat and their time put in is all going to come together, and Lady L is certainly going to rise to the ranks of the true champions and run in first place. But right now we're just going to sit back and enjoy the Lady L's run here in Atlantic City, the Lady L race team. Meyer really has his work cut out for him today. Presently in first place in B-Class, you've got Shockwave and Turn of the Century and Alliance are dueling it out for second and third place. But Lady L is still in the hunt for a place right now. They're running as strong as they can in B-Class, and they know what they must do to overtake the third place boat known as Alliance. So right now, we're just going to have to see what kind of breaks Pete Meyer and Tony Lecaro can make for themselves out here in the rough leg at Atlantic City. you see the Lady L race team acknowledging the presence of the freeze-frame video copter right there running with them. We do everything to bring you the best possible footage. The Lady L race team, we wish them all the best. Here you see Special Edition. You notice, John noticed our presence there earlier, and he waved and acknowledged our presence. They're looking very good. John D'Elia and J.D. Jr. from Coscob, Connecticut are having a phenomenal run in Special Edition. They're presently in first place, and if they can hold off Ford, Silver Bullet, and Chevrolet, they will be your champ. Right there you see that broken tie bar, which you saw earlier on in the race, is still running with them. There you see it right there by the port motor. It's still kicking up and it is running loose. We'll just have to wait and see the damage that it has caused when this race is over. But for whatever reason it is, it was just meant to be their day today. But Special Edition is having a fine run as it holds off Coors Light Silver Bullet. If they maintain this, they will be your national champion in open class. John D'Elia and J.D. Jr. from Coscob, Connecticut in the Special Edition race team. And right here, as the race is drawing to a close, many boats have already finished. Some are still out in the course, but we're going to stay with Special Edition as he charges home for the start-finish boat, and we'll be staying with him as he crosses the finish line. And after that, we'll be compiling our final results, and we'll be bringing them to you, the final results of the 1988 Atlantic City Trump Castle Grand National Powerboat Championships from Atlantic City. Stay tuned for the final results. There you see John D'Elia and J.D. Jr. with the fist being held high in victory. They know they have held on, and they are the national champs. So as we head toward the